Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Marie and I make clothes. I hope you're all doing well. So for today's video, I will be showing you how I made this tier dress by hacking the Noor Dress pattern. I was sewing a dress for my sister, then I thought I should make one for myself and share the steps with you. So this dress features a V-neck and a little puff on the sleeve, nothing major, and 2 gathered tiers. It's loose fitting and no need for a zipper. I personally don't have a serger, but I always make sure that my makes have a clean finish, so I did French seams and bias binding. I already made and filmed the black linen version, but there was a comment on my last video that it would be easier to follow if I used a printed fabric, so I used this summery fabric from my stash, which has lemons and oranges on it. Feel free to use any flowy fabrics with your favorite color or prints. So this pattern I used or hacked is the Noor Dress from fabricstore.com. Of course, it's free and I will link it down below. Make sure to make a habit of reading the description because I usually update it if I forgot something. My size is 8 or 6, which is small, but the pattern goes up to 28 or 30 or 4XL. Fabric I used are linen rayon for the black and cotton poplin for this printed version. This is from Shopee, linked below. I used about 2 meters, but there is still excess that I'm planning to make into a bucket hat. If fabricstore.com is available in your area, check out their linen fabrics because for sure that it's perfect for this and as a support as well since they are very kind to share a lot of free sewing patterns on their website. I like using patterns from them because their size range is very inclusive so more people can follow my sew along and still have their size. This channel is mainly about me making clothes using free pattern and fabric from the thrift store. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe, like the video so you can easily find it in your playlist if you want to recreate it. And I will really appreciate if you comment down any suggestion or what you like or don't like about my videos so I could improve as well. And you should watch my first video since I showed there clothes that I made using 7 free sewing patterns. So you could get inspo for your next makes. With that being said, let's start. Pattern and alteration. For the back, I added 1 centimeter on the side and shoulder for the French seam. Then I shortened it by measuring 15 centimeter from the top of the side seam. This should be cut on fold. Front, I added 1 centimeter on the side and shoulder for the French seam. I also raised the neckline a little bit by drawing a straight line at the start of the shoulder to the end of the waistline. Then I shorten it by measuring 15 centimeter from the top of the side seam. I will also use the back to determine the new width of the front by aligning the shoulder, then trace the back. This should be cut on fold. Sleeve, I added 1 centimeter all around for French seam. I then measure 15 centimeter from the top of the sides and that will be the new length for the sleeve. Cut 2 pieces face to face. Last, the skirt or the tiers. For the tier 1, the height is 33 centimeter but you can decide how long you want it to be. Then for the width, just measure the front and the back piece, then multiply by 2 since it's on fold. Then multiply the sum of that by 1.5 for the gathers. So for me, that is 33 by 150 centimeter. Then for the tier 2, I used the same height as tier 1, which was 33 centimeter. Then for the width, I simply multiply the tier 1 width by 1.5 for the gathers. So for me, that is 33 by 225 centimeter. Before we start sewing, let's review the cutout pieces. By the way, don't forget to transfer the notches or the markings on the pattern. We should have 1 piece back, cut on fold, 1 piece front, cut on fold, 2 piece sleeve, cut face to face, 1 piece tier 1, 1 piece tier 2, and 1 piece bias strip, for me approximately 65 centimeter long. With all that complete, let's start sewing. With every project, remember to do a test stitch using a scrap fabric. After doing that, I will proceed with preparing the bias strip. So I am connecting the bias strip since I did not cut it long enough. I then bring it to the ironing board and fold once and press Once done, let's set this aside for now. Then let's proceed to attaching the front piece to the back piece. Since I will be using a French seam method to finish the seams, face the wrong sides together, then pin. Do this on the shoulder and sides. After pinning, sew with 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. After sewing, trim half of the seam allowance and turn the top wrong side out, meaning the right sides are together, then pin again on the shoulder and sides. Then sew again with 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge, this time encasing the raw edge. Now the front and back piece are attached with French seams. Let's move on to finishing the neckline. Here I'm showing you that I did a stay stitch on the neckline, which is basically just a straight stitch, 5mm or 1/4 inch from the raw edge. Turn the top right side out. This neckline has a V-neck, so I will show you how I finish a V-neck with a folded bias strip. I will first find the center of the V-neck, then draw a line. I will also draw a V 1 centimeter from the edge of the V-neck, which will serve as a guide. Grab the folded bias strip, then I will start pinning on the V, leaving a little bit of an excess at the end, at least 2 centimeter. Once everything is pinned and the folded bias strip meets on the V, overlap the folded bias strip, then draw a straight line on both ends, following the line we did earlier as a guide. This will be a guide when sewing the bias strip together. Take out the pins on the V area, fold the top front, then pin the folded bias strip ends together, making sure that the lines that we draw are aligned. Then sew using the line as a guide, connecting the bias strip together. Don't forget to backstitch. Trim the excess, leaving just 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch, then lay the folded bias strip flat, and it should be shaped same as the neckline. Pin the center of the folded bias strip to the center of the top. I also draw another guide shaped as a V 1 centimeter from the edge, so I know when to turn later when sewing. Let's bring this to the machine, then stitch the folded bias strip to the top neckline, 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. As you can see, I'm starting at the V, following the guide that I draw earlier. Go slow and make sure your needle is down when you stop to take out the pins. Now that the bias strip is sewn into the neckline, I will fold the bias strip towards the edge of the neckline. I will avoid the area near the V for now. As you can see, on the bottom of the V, it's too bulky to fold, so put a pin there as an indication not to sew on that area. Fold the rest. You can use pins, but I decided to press it with an iron. Then bring this to the machine, then sew 5mm or 1/4 inch from the edge, starting and stopping 1 centimeter from the V. Once sewn, I will trim the seam allowance. Do not trim the folded over strip, just the raw edge. Once you reach the V, clip the middle of the V. Just be careful not to clip through the stitches. Then fold the bias strip to the wrong side of the fabric, then pin. I'm not showing this here, but make sure to pin the middle of the V to the middle of the top to make sure that it's properly aligned. Let's bring this to the machine and sew 1 centimeter from the edge. This time, I will start sewing on the back of the top. Once you reach the V, you can use the line as a guide when to lift and turn. Once again, go slow and make sure your needle is down when removing the pins. Now here is the finished neckline. I will put the top aside for now and work on the sleeves. Same as the top, we will finish this with French seams. So wrong sides together, pin and sew with 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Once sewn, trim half of the seam allowance, then turn wrong sides out, then pin again with the right sides together, then sew again with 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Now that the sleeves are sewn together, I will mark 2 cm from the bottom of the sleeve, then another 5 cm from the first line. The first 2 cm will be folded, then folded again following the 5 cm line as a guide. Once everything is folded and pinned, bring this to the machine. I will first sew the folded edge by a hairline, basically very close to the folded edge. Make sure to leave a 5 cm opening for the elastic later. Don't forget to backstitch. Here I'm showing you the 5 cm opening for the elastic. After that, I will sew again 1 cm or 3/8 of an inch away from the first stitch line. So we will have 2 panels, and now that the panels are sewn, let's grab the elastic, then insert it using a safety pin. Make sure to pin the other end of the elastic. By the way, the elastic length is just equal to my arm's measurement. Sew the elastic end, then close the opening. Here is the elastic inserted. I then locate the notches on the sleeve, then sew 2 rows of straight stitch 5 mm or 1/4 inch from the edge and 5 mm apart as well. Start and stop from the notches. Use the longest stitch on your machine. Do not backstitch. We will use this to gather the sleeves. I like to tie the bottom threads together, then cut the excess thread. Then pull on the top threads to gather the fabric. Now that the sleeves are done, let's move on to attaching the sleeves to the top. With the top wrong side out and the sleeve right side out, insert the sleeve in the armhole. Make sure that the right sides of the fabric is together. Match the notches on the sleeves and the armholes. Remember, 1 clip notch is for the front and 2 clip notch is for the back. Pin the sleeve to the armhole. Adjust the gathers of the sleeves to fit the armhole. Once everything is pinned, sew 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. I like to have the gathered sleeves up when sewing. You should be sewing in between the stitch we did to gather the sleeves. Go slow on this part and make sure that you're only catching the sleeves and the armhole part. Take your time and enjoy the process. Here I'm showing you that I also did a zigzag stitch on the edge, but later I will bias bind that. You can also remove the visible stitch that we used earlier to gather the sleeves, but I like to do that at the end. And now we are done attaching the sleeves to the top. Let's work on the skirt or the tiers. You know this by now, wrong sides together, pin and sew 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Do this on both tiers. Trim the excess, then turn right sides together, then pin and sew again with 1 centimeter seam allowance. I then fold the skirt, then mark the center. This will help later to distribute the gathers evenly. Do this on the tier 1 and 2. After that, sew 2 rows of straight stitch 5 mm or 1/4 inch from the edge and 5 mm apart as well. Use the longest stitch on your machine. Do not backstitch. We will use this to gather the skirt. I like to tie the bottom threads together, then cut the excess thread, then pull on the top threads to gather the fabric. After doing that on both tiers, let's proceed with attaching the skirt to the top. I will turn the tier 1 wrong side out, then insert the top. So the good side of the fabric is facing together. Pin and make the skirt fit the top by adjusting the gathers as necessary. Use the center mark we did earlier to evenly distribute the gathers. Use as many pins as you need. Once everything is pinned, sew 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from the edge or in the middle of the 2 rows of the straight stitch that we used to gather the skirt. I like to sew with the gathers on top so I could adjust it if necessary. Again, take your time and just enjoy. Here I'm showing you that I also did a zigzag stitch, and this leads me to our next step, which is optional, binding the raw edge. I used a long strip of 3 centimeter fabric, not cut on the bias. I pre-folded and ironed the other side of the long strip about 5 millimeter or 1/4 inch from the edge and left the other side raw. Pin the raw edge of the strip to the raw edge of the skirt. Then once the binding ends meet, sew the binding ends together. Then sew the binding to the skirt 5 millimeter or 1/4 inch from the edge. Then fold the binding and do a final stitch to fully encase the raw edge. Here is the finished binding. Do this on the raw edge of the armholes and the skirt tiers. This part is tedious, but if you want to sew garments that have a clean finish and will last longer, I recommend doing this step. The binding does not need to match the color of the fabric because it will be hidden anyways. Here I am just removing the visible stitches that we used to gather the skirt and the sleeves. You can actually do this at the very end after hemming the skirt. So the last step is to hem the skirt. I simply fold 1 centimeter from the edge, then fold again another 1 centimeter. Then just edge stitch by a hairline on the fold line. Watch my linen tank top video as I have a more detailed process there. And that's it, our tier dress is done. Here is the finished tier dress. The printed version is a perfect OOTD this summer. It's such a statement piece because of the print, and the black linen version is just so cool, flowy, and another great addition to my basic wardrobe. I plan to wear this in the office, that is why the skirt is a bit longer, but you can choose your desired length. You don't have to do this V-neck. I just wanted to show you how I finish a V-neck with a bias strip. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so I could continue to film my makes. I have a goal this year to make all of my clothes using only free sewing patterns. I look forward to share those makes with you, so expect more to come. I hope this video helped you gain the confidence to make your own clothes. I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. Have the best rest of your day and remember to love yourself. See you next week. Bye!